up, guys? So most people think the only way to win with XRP is to sell it. But smart money, question mark, they use it to borrow against XRP. Here's why that might be a real exit strategy. And welcome to the channel. Today, let's talk a little bit about some strategies that you might be able to apply and use for the long term. So if you're starting to dabble into XRP, if you're starting to dabble into cryptocurrency anyways, one of the safest and most value based, in my opinion, cryptocurrencies is XRP. And it isn't about just buying and selling, right? So when you're thinking about short term, maybe you can do that. That's what I do as well too. But this is for the long term, folks that have that type of long term mindset. And maybe you're late to the game. It's okay. As long as you start now, it's better than not starting at all. And then time in the market, as you guys know, beats not being in the market, right? So dollar cost average, get into it. Let's start talking about the 3 different points. So in my channel, I always talk about 3 different points. Other times, I'm vlogging. This time I'm in Colorado for a wedding right now. So I just wanted to make sure that I can get this out to you guys. This is the last and hopefully final week of craziness. I might have a couple more trips coming for work, not my 9-to-5 type of work, but some conferences that I have to go to, part of my AI conferences. There might be more coming up overall. So got some to talk about that, but that's outside of this. So first point that I want to talk about today is selling is the trap. So that's the retail mindset. This is what happens usually. They wait for the pump, sell, and then spend. That is not what you want to do, right? This leads to a lot of regret, a lot of heavy taxing, and then losing the long-term asset for use. How many times have you regretted selling too early? I know I have, like with Palantir, I was, oh dang, I sold too early. I still made a profit, don't get me wrong, it's still a win. But with an asset that is going to be like something very long term, like even Palantir, it's very AI driven. They work with a lot of the AI chip manufacturers. But imagine that for the financial industry. This is XRP is changing the financial infrastructure. So think about that a little bit. You don't want to be able to, you don't want to sell too early, and you want to be able to actually leverage it somehow. Like how else can you use it in the interim rather than, just giving it to your kids in the future or grandkids? Like how can you use it now? So that's the first point. What I want is don't realize that this is the only option is to sell it to make that profit. There's a lot of different ways. Talking point number 2, which is going to be the strongest point, is borrowing against XRP. Yeah, it's already possible now. You can do it now, but for those platforms, you have to be very careful because that's collateral. With XRP, what I'm doing right now is I'm actually waiting until there's better programs out there, so that way there's better products out there that you can use. I do know that there's going to be there's going to be future programs out there that's built just like whole life insurance, how you can use it. And right now you can use it based on like loan to value ratios. So like, let's say for an example, you have like $10,000 in XRP, you can borrow against it like $3,000 to $5,000. Very similar to like a 401k, and then also like whole life insurance. There's a percentage to loan to value that you can borrow against. And then when you pay that interest, it actually goes back into your own pocket. So instead of borrowing against it and having to pay like a bank, like that interest actually goes back to you, and then it compounds, right? That's a strategy. And because you're borrowing money, you're not it's not taxed. So whatever you do with that money, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to compound it. So I'm putting it into other assets, businesses, digital businesses, YouTube. There's so many different other digital businesses that you guys can start. Now I'll talk about it in this channel as well too. Some different strategies, because I'm doing it today. But let's say you just need that money, right? You can you can do it now. You can start borrowing against it now. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not a financial advisor by all means, but it's the crypto space, like it's very different. So in the future, there's going to be a lot of regulations in the fintech world. So it's going to be a lot safer. You're not having to get collateralized as much. There's always going to be collateral, but you're not going to get pulled, right? So like, meaning if, how do I say it? If you get called, for a massive loss, like that, like, they're just not going to take all of your XRP away. Like with these new programs that are going to come out, you're going to be able to actually protect yourself. So like liquidation, if price drops, then you're going to have a safer net rather than them just pulling everything away. So it isn't just about selling, like there's a ton of different strategies that you can use for the long term in order to get more leverage from your current assets. So point number 3, wealth lasts way beyond the pump. Keep XRP. That's what I'm doing. Compound it for the long term. Compound. Do not sell if that's the mindset, right? I know shit happens. Things are gonna happen. You're gonna need to sell. I don't know. You lose your job. Something terrible happens with where you're at. Things will happen. I know. I get it. But if you have the means, just try to hold. Find different ways to make money. Like, find a different strategy. Like, find a different way. You don't have to sell it. Just when you invest into this stuff, think of it as it's already gone. Poof. And if worst comes to worst, and that you're going to need that money, use this strategy. Just use it. It's riskier, right? You can get into like other, platforms that allow this for you to get like a loan to value ratio. You can get like 30 to 50% of whatever your XRP is. Just get that loan and then pay the interest to it. Use that money and just pay the interest. It's better than getting a credit card and having to pay for that interest. Think of it like that. So then you're going to lose that XRP anyways. And so when you're tight in that spot, research some of that. Like there's Nexo, there's uHodler, there's Coin Rabbit, that allows these different types of loans. I don't use any of these platforms. I've used some before. I'm not going to name the ones that I've used because they were trash. And I knew I was going to lose my money, but I was testing it and seeing how all this stuff works. And it's possible. You can do it, right? But it's very risky. And it's been 5 years since I've done it. But now they have stronger platforms. And what I'm doing is I'm just waiting, because I know within time there's going to be more products and more different things you can actually utilize for compounding your asset and not losing, your XRP. So make sure that you retain your money and you keep your asset and then reinvest it for the lifestyle that you want. So this whole thing is a mindset shift and a lifestyle change, just like what I'm going to be talking about in my other video. I might already released it. But yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that. You can collateralize your current XRP holdings, and then make sure that you have crypto lending in place as well. There's tons of different strategies, and just borrowing against your XRP is one of them. You can do this for Ethereum and Bitcoin as well too. And yeah, that's all I wanted to get out to you guys. I have to get to this wedding, so I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I accept all types of comments. Thank you guys. Later.